Hi friends, my name is Courtney and welcome to my kitchen. Today we're going to be making a quick and easy homemade pizza dough. This takes literally 5 minutes to put together and you're going to top it with your favorite toppings.
So first we're going to start with 7 grams of active dry yeast. I am actually using metric units, so I will leave them below. And if you wanted the cup measurements, you can visit the link and get a free printable to print it out and follow along. We're also going to be using 236 grams of warm water. This is 110 or so degrees Fahrenheit. You want to make sure it's warm but not too warm that it will kill the yeast. Then we're going to feed the yeast 4 grams of sugar so it helps it activate, and you can see it's nice and foamy and ready to go. We're going to use 120 grams of 00 flour, and then we're going to use 250 grams of bread flour. You can use more if needed, but I prefer to start with the 250 grams and then add more if I do need it. So then I added 28 grams of olive oil. We're also adding in 3 grams of salt and then 1.5 grams of granulated garlic. Now keep in mind, I'm using granulated and not powdered. I feel like it just gives it a much better garlic flavor. And then we are using our KitchenAid mixer to knead this. If you are using a KitchenAid, just keep in mind you can only use it for kneading for 2 minutes at speed 2. Otherwise, they don't recommend going any longer than that. And as you can see, it's kind of sticky. I'm going to show you, I'm going to lift it up and show you that it does stick to my hand. So I do need to use a little bit more flour. It really depends on the humidity in your house, the weather. If it's raining out, I find I need to use a little bit more flour. So I usually go about 2 1/4. Sometimes I've had to go to 2 1/3. So now the dough is nice and ready. It's very soft, and I find that the heat of my hands doesn't really let me manipulate the dough as much as I would like I'm showing you here. It just doesn't stretch as well. I'm kind of like fighting the dough, and it doesn't need to rest. This is a quick dough. So what I do is I take my rolling pin, add a little bit of flour to that dough, and then I can really manipulate it. As you can see, I am pushing it to its limit. I am pulling it, and you'll see me actually make that bottom left corner even with just pulling the dough and then rolling right over it. Now to keep this even easier, I'm baking this right on a baking sheet, and you could also make this into like 2 8-inch circular round pizzas, like a personal size. This is enough for my family of 4. Then we're going to actually take crushed tomatoes with basil. If it doesn't have basil in it, make sure you add some basil. And then we're going to add in a few other seasonings. I'm using a granulated garlic again, and I'm actually using the rest of mine. I'm also going to be using some oregano, and then I'm also using salt and pepper. Now, if it didn't have basil in it, you're going to want to add some basil. And I, again, prefer the granulated garlic over the powdered. I find it just has a better flavor, and it also mixes in nicely. Like, I feel like if I had used a powder in here, it may have clumped up. We are not going to cook this sauce. Do not cook your tomato sauce for the pizza, because if you cook your pizza sauce, it's just going to have like a really muted and then sweet flavor. It's going to also be a muted color. I find that this tastes more reminiscent of a pizzeria sauce. And then you're going to want to use a new spoon if you need more, because you can use this sauce for another pizza or 2. And then once you have all of your sauce spread on, you're going to put on your favorite toppings. We're using some Follow Your Heart cheese. We're using a Parm and a vegan mozzarella. We have a dairy allergy in our house that we manage, and we find that this is the best dairy-free alternative there is out there for pizza. And as you can see, it kind of looks a little stringy, so once it melts a little bit more, it does kind of separate. But if you can eat cheese, definitely use regular cheese on here. You can add your favorite toppings like pepperoni, mushrooms. You can even do a white pizza with broccoli, which we also love.
I hope you guys enjoyed this quick and easy recipe, and if you did, please consider subscribing, and we'll see you guys soon. Bye! So good. One thing I really like about this is it almost gives me like Ellio's vibe. So if you like Ellio's, you're gonna really love this pizza. So good.